we're going to talk about how to create a second work order and why that's important. A lot of times when we have a property that has a work order, it's set up for the vendor, meaning contractor Y is doing a scope of work. But a lot of times that contractor in our business will go in and go to the store, most likely Home Depot, and purchase material. And at some point, whether it's a few days later, a week later, a month later, we'll get an invoice and we have to reconcile that statement. But what we need to do is reference that original work order that it's under, create a new work order, and then we need to put a new vendor in order to pay that invoice. The particular example we're going to have today is a Wells Fargo Visa card that is used most commonly for a charge at Home Depot for our account. So if you come a little closer, I'll show you how to find that work order and actually do that. So you go up to the header where maintenance and you select work orders, and after that's selected, it will pull up the list of available work orders. But what we want to do is find a particular property. This one is our Bluegrass property. I happen to know that this invoice is already closed out, so what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to find all invoices. This may not be the case for you, but it's a good idea to always put all so you can see all the invoices associated with that property. And in this particular case, this was a couple of months ago, so we're going to date it back to February, because if you don't, it's only going to pull the invoices in that date range that you set up there. Tell it to search, and it looks like we've had a lot of service requests at that property. But in particular, we're gonna look for this one. Let's go to this one. We're gonna pull this work order up, and we're gonna tell right here. If you look, this is the original work order. So when you see this work order says 2537, we're going to click down here where it says add a work order, and it's going to give us a new one. And we're basically going to tell it the job description is going to be material from Home Depot. And in that vendor, we're going to set it up as Wells Fargo Visa, because that's the actual payment type. That's how that bill was paid. And we know this because that's a receipt that we have, and we're reconciling that receipt. Sorry. Click over here. And we're going to assign it to the property manager or the person entering this. We're going to tell it to save. Then we're gonna, if you'll notice, the original work order was 2537. When we add a new one, it says 2537-2, and obviously you can do an endless amount, and it'll just keep tabs that it is. If you'll scroll down, you can drag attachments here, and this is the particular attachment I want to put in. Give it a second, let it upload that file. Once that's done, you want to scroll back up to actions, and you want to create a bill. This is an order for our wonderful people in the accounting department. Once you create a bill, they'll be able to see this, and they'll actually be able to reconcile that payment. So this is going to be in material. And we know the total for this invoice is $417.29. And if you notice down here, it's going to say add attachment to the invoice, and you're going to want to do that because in order for the accounting department to actually reconcile or cut a check for any payment, they're going to need a copy of the original receipt for that to happen. Then while we're in here, we're going to also go ahead and mark this done so that we don't have to do the extra step afterwards. We're going to tell it to save and create a bill. Once that's happened, it kind of gives you an overview to look at it again. You also want to make sure it says complete right here, just to make sure that happens. Then you want to scroll down and actually look and make sure this information is correct. And that's all it is to it. Thank you very much.